With AI, we're shipping code faster than ever, but every deployment is still a risk. A subtle memory leak, a breaking API change, a latency regression that only shows up under real production traffic. These problems are hard to catch. Health checks only tell you when something is fully broken, and you can't write an alert for every possible regression. In a perfect world, engineers would manually verify every deployment, but that doesn't scale. That's why we built AI deployment verification. Metoro automatically detects deployments across your Kubernetes clusters by watching for manifest changes. As soon as a deployment happens, verification begins. First, Metoro works out what changed. It compares manifests and config before and after the deployment and pulls in the relevant GitHub diff to understand the code change. Then, guided by that change, it compares production telemetry from before and after the deployment across logs, traces, metrics, profiling, and Kubernetes events. If something looks wrong, Metoro investigates the regression and pinpoints the root cause. Then it gives you a simple verdict: healthy or degraded. So your team knows right away whether the deployment is safe. Let's take a look at a real example. Here, we've just shipped a new version of Metoro to our dev cluster. The deployment is detected automatically, and Metoro starts verifying it right away. First, it looks at what changed. In this case, it sees a change to the way we filter data in Postgres. From the code and config diff, it identifies the endpoints most likely to be affected. Then it begins checking how those endpoints behave in production. It looks through traces, logs, and profiling data before and after the deployment. Very quickly, it spots something unusual. One endpoint is now taking roughly twice as long to respond. From there, Metoro keeps digging. It correlates that latency increase with a rise in Postgres CPU usage at the exact same time those requests are being made. So instead of just telling us that latency went up, it explains why. This deployment introduced a regression in the query path, increasing database load and slowing down requests to that endpoint. At that point, Metoro marks the deployment as degraded. The team is notified immediately in Slack, with the affected endpoint, the root cause, and the evidence behind the verdict. So within minutes of shipping, we know this deployment is not safe. No one had to manually inspect dashboards. No one had to write a monitor for a particular endpoint. And no one had to wait for a customer to report it. So that's deployment verification. Check it out today by enabling it in your account settings.